Welcome to another episode of the Wrestling Diaries. I am your host, Mitchell Roulane. This is the podcast show for the average Joe. And I got a really good friend, an old friend on the show today. Before we get started and get into the things that we wrestle with and why struggle is manhood, I would like for people to stop what you're doing. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. What is the other ones? Breaker. And download, follow our podcast. If you like it. I mean, if you don't like it, then don't. But if you're watching or listening to this right now, you must like it a little bit. Anyways, go there, follow us, share it. And then also, if you'd like to see the actual video, then go to YouTube, subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell for more episodes. We just started doing our spoken word sessions where it's me speaking for about anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes about stories from life, reading people's literature that they send into me, giving people a platform to speak and have a voice. And it's really cool stuff. So check it out. Follow us, like it, tell everybody, tell your grandma, everybody about it. You know?
I don't
know. Be good stuff. Really? Anyways, today we have the awesome Andrew. Your last name is Bullion?
Bullion.
Almost like the coins.
Yes, the gold. The gold.
Yeah, which I have some.
They keep locked up in Fort Knox, I guess.
So what's up, dude?
Oh, man.
Thanks for being on the show, man.
I'm a little nervous to be here, but yeah, appreciate it.
Right.
Appreciate the opportunity.
You just drink some of that deer's blood you're drinking.
Yeah, it does help.
Drinking some Jaeger. For anybody who's wondering what deer's blood is. That's what I call it. It's kind of stout. So, man, you are currently living in Kentucky. You're visiting here in Alabama. Tell us about that. What's up with that?
Well, it's not so much currently living in Kentucky, considering I'm officially moved out now and just waiting to get moved down here. So I'll be going back to Kentucky for maybe another couple of weeks, and then I'll be back down here, and maybe even sooner.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. It'd be great to have you back. What are you doing? Like, you're obviously, I know, but for people listening to this, what's your profession? What are you doing? What are you into? What are you trying to get into?
I'm a screen printer. Right now I'm working at a factory that screen prints on tube cartridges, like caulk cartridges. The job I have lined up down here is getting back into screen printing on clothing, on t-shirts and.
Matt, so you're saying. Gotta get with this guy when we get ready to make our t-shirts and our decals.
Oh, yeah. We can make some Wrestling Diaries t-shirts.
Yeah, dude. We can make a
hook that up.
Connection, and then I can cross-promote what your business or where you're working at. Everybody's just helping each other out. Make a little moolah. Heck yeah. So how did you get into screen printing? What's the deal with that? You just like making graphics and stuff like that?
Actually, it started out whenever I was in rehab. The rehab center that I went to had a screen printing shop, and that was one of our, they would send us out to do jobs or whatever, and one of the jobs was screen printing, and so that's where I learned how to screen print, was in rehab.
Interesting. And what kind of rehab was this? Was it physical?
For drugs and alcohol.
For drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify, just in case anybody was like, "Oh, did he sprain his ankle?"
Yeah, I sprained my wrist, and that was part of the therapy, was learning how to screen. No, it was for drugs and alcohol.
Oh my gosh!
Teaching us. It was a valuable skill that I learned. Obviously, I mean, this was 5, 6, 7 years ago, and I've turned it into something that I'm doing for a career.
Yeah. What's interesting about you too is I know a lot of people too that have dealt with drugs and alcohol past and stuff like that. And it's kind of almost like an unspoken thing. You don't bring it up. You don't talk about it. But you're pretty open about the things you've done, the substance abuse that you went through and all that other stuff. Why do you think that is?
I mean, it is what it is. I did what I did, and I'm doing what I'm doing, and why hide it?
Let me ask this question: What all drugs have you tried?
Oh God!
Like, seriously, let's go down the list.
Well, it might be easier.
Did you smoke cigarettes and drink beer?
Yeah. It might be easier to list the ones that I haven't done.
Okay, go do that then.
I've never done anything intravenous other than, like, if I go to the hospital or something. But So no heroin. Never done heroin. I've
That's
never
a good
done.
thing.
I've never done crystal meth. Although
That's also a good
I've
thing.
been prescribed Ritalin, which is I guess close enough. Like, but no, I've never done crystal meth. I've never done heroin.
Have you ever OD'd on anything that you've ever done before?
Other than alcohol?
Oh wow.
Probably. I mean, you get alcohol poisoning. I'm sure we've all been there as a young teen. Where
Especially Matt. Matt's drunk right now.
Probably, yeah, you can tell he's looking pretty litty.
Gotta finish this whole bottle.
Yeah, what a ass. I'm kidding. He's not drunk. But anyways, go on. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I mean, you get alcohol. I mean, it's alcohol poisoning. I'm sure.
Yeah, my sister has dealt with that a couple times. Hopefully she... How could he say that? Well, I've got a couple sisters, so we don't know which one I'm talking about. Maybe it was
all
Mom.
Of them.
It was Mom. Mom's the one that did it. No, my mom's never drank a lick of liquor in her life.
Oh, man.
She's super straight edge. Not really straight edge, but I mean like straight edge. Like,
So she really doesn't do it.
Right. So why do you I know, I guess drugs is just something I never really got heavily into. The only thing I've ever really done is, I guess, smoke pot. And I don't even really know if I consider that doing drugs, right? I mean, they're legalizing it, and it's like, well, I guess it's still a substance. It's a mind-altering substance, right? So,
right.
Yeah, I guess that's really the only thing I've ever really experimented with. I know Matt's probably done heroin a couple times.
Yeah, I used to hang out with him back whenever he was sticking them needles in his arm, and it always just frustrated me.
Like, oh my gosh, man, I feel so cold, but also so good at the same time.
We're being absolutely facetious about this. Like, this is not.
This is what happens when I have good old friends on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Usually I try to keep it a little bit more structured, talking to people about business and life.
Yeah.
Well, this is what happens.
We're just talking about stupid stuff.
But but seriously though, would you say that did you do drugs just because you're like an outlier, just doing something to rebel against your parents? Was it an escapism for you? Was it numbing pain in your life, or was it all of the above? Like what goes through the mind of someone that does that, or what goes through your mind, or did go through your mind rather?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was escapism and just trying to get out of this world. I wouldn't say it wasn't necessarily rebellion. It was more just I didn't like how I felt, and drugs made me feel good.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess you could use that analogy for just things outside of drugs, right? Like people have eat the eating addiction, right?
Any kind of addiction that you have where
people are hoarders, or I don't know. There's a litany of other things. It's just
we need that serotonin, man. I need that serotonin.
Yeah, that hit of quick dope to the brain, the dopamine hitting you. Yeah, it's a really weird thing. But what do you think helped you get clean? Was it going to rehab? Was it?
That was part of it, and I mean, I still have my struggles. There have still been times where, even after rehab, where I would go on a binge of some sort, and I've been through opiate withdrawals more times than I'd like to admit. But as of right now, I'm pretty clean.
What does opiate withdrawals feel like?
Oh man.
What does really any drug withdrawal feel like? Because I don't know. I'm asking seriously because I'm just curious.
The opiate withdrawals is, I mean, you just, I'd be going through for weeks where I just was constantly anxious and just felt tense and had, just restless, and, you can't sleep and you're always just sweating and just tense. Just.
Do you feel sick, like nauseous?
Yes. I have gotten to a point where, I would get physically sick from it. But I wouldn't even consider that the worst part of it. The worst part of it is just the anxiety and the restlessness of it.
I can imagine that'd be pretty scary, very cold and dark, and it's crazy stuff, man. It's something I feel very blessed to not have stumbled down on. Unfortunately, I found other ways to, fill my life with forms of escapism and trying to run away from myself, from my problems and all that stuff. I'm really happy because the issue with drugs though is just because it has so much extra stuff attached to it versus all the other vices you could have, right?
Right.
Like the legality of it, the health issues of it.
Okay, so I mean, I'd even know, like, I'd be aware, like, I know I'm about to do this, and then once I run out, I'm gonna feel like garbage. Like, I'm just gonna feel like absolute trash, and it didn't matter. I'd still do it. Hey, I want to feel good for a little bit, and I know what the consequences are. And I mean, it's kind of sad whenever you think about it. It's one of not something I'm necessarily proud of, but it is what it is.
I mean, I just commend you though, because like I said, I know a lot of other people, and you're open about it, and you're honest with it, and I feel like that's a healthy thing. Because you're like, yeah, I did this, and I did it, yeah, and I'm doing better now. I'm not doing it now, but this is what I did. I don't have to hide from it. I think that's really good. It's like in like Alcohol Anonymous, what is the first step is admittance or whatever.
Right,
actually admitting you have a problem and you do this. And if so many people run away from their insecurities, right? They don't want to admit that they don't feel adequate, so they hide behind these weird masks. So I like with not getting into drugs, I can see the appeal 100%. Like I can see the appeal of why, like it's just like you're bandaging that wound or whatever.
Escaping, hiding, just wanting to feel different. I've always dealt with depression and anxiety, and so it was, I've got my excuses.
How long do you think that stems back from? Like,
oh gosh,
like how old were you when you felt like depressed or just, having anxiety about stuff?
A preteen. I definitely remember, like, as a preteen, that's when it really started coming out, and it's something that I've always struggled with. And drugs and alcohol were always the quick fix. The okay, I feel good for a little bit.
When did you have your first experience with drugs and alcohol? Like, how old were you? If you want to share that, you don't have to share that. Honestly.
I think I was about 14 the first time.
Okay.
Time I tried.
That's bad, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, I wasn't like 8 years old, like smoking weed, but like I did start pretty early, and once it was funny because I was one of those that was like, oh, I'm never gonna do drugs, and I remember thinking like I'm not gonna be stupid like that, and then I had friends that were all doing it, and for the longest time, I avoided it, I didn't do it, I'll let them do it. But I finally got talked into it at one point, and once I tried weed for the first time, it was, oh, okay, well, maybe I can try the other stuff that y'all are doing, and it just kind of went downhill from there.
Did you also feel like you had like a lot of peer pressure? Like, what kind of friends did you have around that time? People that were doing drugs and
I guess peer pressure had something to do with it.
See, that's why I guess that's another reason why I didn't get into stuff either, is because me personally, I can't really speak for my other group of friends, our circle of friends, but I always make this cocky statement. I was like, I kicked peer pressure's ass. Like when I was growing up, if like I didn't want to do stuff, I don't care if everybody was doing it or they all like called me a pussy or whatever. I would be like, I'm not doing it. Like that's just it. There's no like if I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna do it. Like I'll do it when I want to do it and I feel like doing it. And that was always like my attitude towards stuff, and I think that's what kind of helped steer me away from, I guess, getting into the substance abuse and stuff like that, just because I was I guess a non-conformist to the point. I guess a lot of my friends kind of picked that up a little bit, I guess. Like I said, I can't really speak for all of them, but I know that's how I was growing up as a kid and a teenager and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I remember as, growing up as a teenager, just, seeing friends doing certain things. Like, I remember the first time I saw friends doing ecstasy, and I'm like, man, they look like they're having a lot of fun. Like, I want to try that. So it wasn't so much the peer pressure where it was, you've got friends that are trying to get you to do something, so much as it was just seeing other people doing it and enjoying themselves, and it's like, hey, I want to do that too. And
it's like tantalizing,
yeah.
Oh, cool. And he's got a toy. I want that toy.
And then you realize, after getting into it, it's like, I mean, it's just, you hit a point where it's like, it's not doing what it was doing, and you've just hit bottom, and you just don't feel good about it anymore.
How do you think people escape that? How do you get out of that? Not you necessarily personally, but just someone in general. How do they escape that?
I mean, it's, that's case by case. It's not something that.
How did you escape it?
Well, rehab was a good part of it. The support system that I've had, my family has always been a great support system. One thing about my parents is it's like, my parents know me and they know, okay, well, we probably shouldn't leave pain pills laying around where he can get them, but they trust me in other areas. It's like they know how far they can trust me. And, the support system that I've had has been a really big help. And also just the fact that I've hit rock bottom so many times and I've gone, like, I know where that is. Like, I know where I'm headed. I know what this feels like, and hitting those deep, dark places and, coming out of it so many times and not wanting to go back into it. And that's prevented me from doing, certain things, even where, like, okay, I got out of rehab. Well, I started smoking weed again. Well, I mean, it's, a little more socially acceptable and it's not, I don't even consider it that bad, but ecstasy, that was my drug of choice as a teenager. And it's something that, like, man, I want to feel that again, but it scares me because I know, like, man, if I start doing that, who's to say that I'm going to be able to stop before I really crash again? And I don't want to crash again.
Yeah. Somebody was telling me once too, that they feel like addiction isn't all just clean, cut and dry, as in that what you're doing, like, you're chemically and biologically addicted to it because of the compounds, which it is, scientifically speaking. But they were saying that really it's the person who just has an addictive personality.
Yeah.
Because then you see a lot of people, once they get off drugs, then they become addicted to something else, right? Like, they stop doing drugs, but then they get addicted to eating, or they get addicted to porn, or they get addicted to, I don't know, like collecting baseball cards. Like, I don't know, like the different things.
I've got a massive collection of Pokemon cards,
Look at this
man.
Jose Canseco, man. This is the real shit. But yeah, I feel like that's a good point, because I've also known people that have tried things, right? I've known somebody that's tried cocaine and, acid and different things like that. And they just tried it. They did it. And they were like, oh, I don't, it was cool. I tried it. And then they're good. And they just move on. Like, I feel like even though I haven't done that, I feel like that would be kind of me. Like, another reason I feel like I couldn't be addicted to stuff too is because I don't
try it. Don't do it. Don't try it.
I probably won't. But I hate repetition of things too. I hate being bound by, like, having to do stuff. I don't know. It's weird. That's really crazy, dude. Well, I'm glad you're, like, cleaning your life up, and you need to clean your liver up, man.
Let's not go there. Oh, man.
This guy just drank a barrel of whiskey before he came here. Barrel.
Yeah. An entire, the whole, like, Donkey Kong size barrel.
And he had a pair of overalls. He took them off for the show, though. I'm sorry if his mom's watching. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I love your son. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So what else is going on in your life, man? I know you're wearing a Perfect Circle shirt. You're a metalhead, and you got that look, right? I know this.
I mean,
just
there's
so we're clear,
a lot of metal,
I know
there's
all
a lot
this
of metal
stuff.
face in
I'm
my
asking
face, right?
for the audience.
Yeah, for the audience's sake. Well, I mean, no. Actually, I like country.
He likes good Western and then smooth jazz.
Keep a straight face saying that, like,
With a shaved head.
I do not like country.
At all? You don't even like the good, like, Western cowboy stuff, like Chris Stapleton?
Who?
You don't know who Chris Stapleton is? Do you know who Chris Stapleton is, Matt? No, he doesn't.
I mean, I like Hank the Third.
Hank the Third is in a hardcore band, bro.
Close enough.
And then the country he does is super offensive.
Like, yeah,
it's not even.
Hey, I
the
like
Unknown
Hank
Henson
too,
from
yeah.
Squidbillies.
Yeah.
I know you've heard of that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go down. What's your music taste? Let's go.
Oh man, that's it varies so much because it's like I don't like country.
Well,
but
what's your default music? What do you listen to probably the most? Mine's probably pop punk. I'm being honest.
I can't. Oh man, metal, hip hop, trap metal has been a new favorite lately.
What is trap metal exactly?
It's like metal to a rap beat. Like it's rap metal, and it's not like new metal where it's like that rap rock, like lame Limp Bizkit.
Oh. That's a bad taste
it's funny.
in my mouth.
Yeah, it's funny how we both said that at the same time. Like that's just horrible. I mean, I grew up on new metal, but I definitely didn't like Limp Bizkit. But no, it's it's like it's metal with a rap beat. You know, and
what bands do that?
Scarlord.
Lord.
I know Denzel Curry can be considered. He's gotten into some of it. Omen 13. Lord, now that I'm trying to think of, I can't even think of any. Scarlord is my favorite right now.
Apparently, I obviously don't know anything about trap metal because I don't recognize any. Do you know any of those names, Matt? Those bands?
They're just it's not a very popular genre.
Cool. And then you're a big what is it, Korn fan, right?
Oh,
and a big Tool fan.
Tool,
Tool,
Deftones, Slipknot. Yeah,
those band like Deftones, Tool, and Korn. Well, maybe not so much Korn. They all have this kind of like this certain sound to their music. I don't know how to even describe it. It's like this dark, melodic, ambient. Like I don't know how to describe them, but they have like a specific sound, like Tool and Deftones especially. I've always really loved Deftones. I like Tool too, probably not as much as you do, but Deftones is my jams, man.
Yeah, no.
Right. And then Perfect Circle. I think they were on tour recently, right? I feel like they came to town not too long ago. Maybe
I don't know. I haven't been here
yeah,
in a while.
He's been living in Kentucky, so
I mean, I saw him in Nashville a couple of years ago. Maybe about 2 years ago.
A lot of people don't know this about Maynard Keenan.
Maynard James Keenan, yes.
Maynard James Keenan. He is a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he also owns a farm. Did you know that?
Yes, and he makes wine, and
I didn't know that.
His dad was a Baptist preacher.
That explains with all of his very gospel lyrics.
yeah, it's very religious.
It's very religious Christian lyrics.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's a very interesting guy, man. I watched him on. He's really good friends with Joe Rogan in real life, and I watched him on the show, and like, he's a super cool guy. He's not as weird as people like say he is. But what is weird, right?
He's got a very strange and I mean what I think is great sense of humor.
He's just a performer, like on stage. Like I watched what was it, Schism? I watched that performance that he did. That's like big on YouTube, and he's like doing all these weird body contortions. And I was like, that is a showman right there, man. He's putting on for his craft. And everybody else is like, well, his fans are probably like, oh, this is so cool. And then other people are like, oh my god, he's possessed.
He came out in a bodysuit with boobies. Like, well, that's his sense of humor for you.
Yeah. Who did that first, Marilyn Manson, or was it him? I want to know who copied who. Because Marilyn Manson did that. Or Marilyn Manson, I guess, really did have boobs, didn't he? Or something?
No, there was a bodysuit.
Was it a bodysuit?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Of course, all the rumors when we're in like middle school.
He got
like,
his ribs taken out so that he can,
give himself fellatio.
Yeah, completely untrue.
Yeah, and then he got like a boob job and all this stuff.
Yeah,
so,
it wasn't. He didn't actually get a boob job. He just had a bodysuit on. Prosthetics, and of course, as a teenager, we don't know that. We just see Marilyn Manson with boobies, and we're like, "Oh my god, he got a boob job." Right. No, it was prosthetics.
What would you say your guilty pleasure in music is? Like, what is something that you're ashamed, or maybe not necessarily ashamed, but like, oh, I wish I didn't
Gwen
like
Stefani.
This. Really?
No.
Well, no, I was going to say.
There is one song, "Bubble Pop Electric." That is, I love that song. I've got a system, and it sounds. The bass is awesome. It's like getting a back massage. Just.
I was gonna say, not like, oh, really? Gwen Stefani, I feel like is an easy one there. She was in No Doubt. She was in ska and punk band, and then she does like her solo stuff. Plus, she's super cute.
Hot. Oh yeah.
You should have a poster of her on my wall.
Her solo stuff was definitely more poppy.
Yeah, like bubblegum.
Yeah.
I still liked it. Like I thought she has like a very cute, distinct sounding singing voice, and she has really nice abs.
Yeah.
Right now, go
abs,
Google Google Gwen Stefani abs. You get some really awesome
that's
pics.
What you want to see. Gwen Stefani's abs.
The first time I saw No Doubt, I was like, oh my gosh, this girl's so cute, and she's got abs. That's what I thought as like a little kid, a little boy. I was like, she's so pretty
because she definitely
abs.
doesn't have boobs.
Yeah, she's got abs. Yeah,
the abs are there.
Cute, and she's great. So we're just trailing off on this stuff. I mean, what do you guys want? This is a wrestling diaries. I mean, let's talk about business, Andrew. So, what's in your suitcase right now? Do you have your memoirs?
Drugs.
Hmm.
No.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He got out of doing them. Now he's just wheeling and dealing them.
Just selling them. No.
He's the biggest distributor on the East Coast.
Oh, God.
The cartel's coming for you.
He's got a whole suitcase full of uppers, downers, probably a bottle of ether.
We could write. We'll write Fear and Loathing, or Fear and Loathing in Birmingham.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You ever read that book?
Yeah.
By Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, and it's in the movie with Johnny Depp. I mean, that's it's
That
a
is
great movie.
insane. And it's got Benicio del Toro. I think that's how you say his name, the Italian actor. And then Christina Ricci's in that movie. It's a crazy movie.
Yeah, it is.
Super trippy. The beginning when Tobey Maguire's characters, the weird kid with the balding long hair, and they pick him up in the car, and then like I guess Raul is like tripping, and he's like, "Oh, we gotta get this kid out of here." This kid, he's just sitting there in the back smiling like this. Oh my, I love that movie, man. So have you seen that movie, Matt? Fear and Loathing? Oh,
and it's one of those movies that actually kind of gives you an idea of what taking some of these drugs might be like. Now it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but you get so many like shows, TV shows and movies and stuff that are like, "Oh, hey, this is, this guy's on acid and this is what he's seeing." And it's like, that's not at all
That's what people are telling me
see on acid,
about Fear and Loathing.
But it gets, it gets close. It's one of the more realistic.
Yeah, I love it. He wakes up in the hotel and he's got a tape recorder taped to his chest, and he has a giant dragon tail like strapped onto his body. He's like turning around, the tail swinging. And I remember the first time watching it, and then the room is flooded with water. And I was like, "What is going on right now?" The tape recorder on his chest, and he has like a dinosaur tail. Like,
who knows why, man? Who
it's
knows
so
why
funny.
you do stuff whenever
you ever like when you were doing drugs? Did you ever like have you woke up and you were like,
"Oh, absolutely!"
Like, please, I got to hear a story. Let's go.
Oh man, do I have to come up with a story right now? See, I should have thought about this beforehand.
No, you're good. Just go, like maybe you woke up. Start with something you do remember, and then go into the more crazy stuff.
Okay, well, all right. Here's a good one. First time trying absinthe, which is, it's alcohol, so it's not. It's pretty potent alcohol.
Explain what that is to people that don't know.
Absinthe.
Mm-hmm,
Well, in Europe, apparently it's a very potent liquor with hallucinogenic properties, and they legalized it in America back in 2008, I think, 2008 or 2009.
I didn't even know that.
And
we gotta get some of that, Matt.
Yeah.
Let's get some.
You got a bottle of it right next to you.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it looks like. That's funny.
It's the American version is made differently. It doesn't have the strong, potent hallucinogenic properties, but it's still a very very strong alcohol.
Have you had some in the American version?
Yeah.
Okay.
They legalized it in America and released it. Marilyn Manson actually had his own version of absinthe.
Okay. How about that?
Not
surprised.
Yeah,
Marilyn.
not surprised. But no, they had it in the Class 6, the military liquor store the day they legalized, of course, because we all know the military breeds alcoholics.
Yeah.
So I got a bottle of it, and at the time, like, I was drinking a fifth of Jaeger pretty much every night. Like at least every 2 nights, I'd go through a fifth, and so. I get this bottle of absinthe, and I'm like, I'm drinking it like I would drink Jaeger, which was a horrible mistake. And it was about 8 hours where I completely blacked out, completely just don't remember anything. But everybody was telling me about all the stuff that I was doing, like in the barracks, I went into a friend's room and just busted in, and apparently I walked in, and there was a guy that I didn't know in his room, and I took his hat and proclaimed, "I don't know you," and threw his hat at him, and then walked out. And as I was walking out, I grabbed a bottle of bleach from this guy's room that he had sitting out, and started pouring bleach down the hallway of the barracks. And so, like, our barracks smelled like bleach for a good month, because it was this full bottle of bleach that I just poured all over the floor.
Okay.
I had friends telling me that they had to pull me because I kept trying to jump out the window. Apparently, I was mad at the window for not letting me jump out of it. And so I had several people telling me that they were like having to force me into my room because I kept trying to jump out of the window. And I woke up the next morning and there was holes in my wall from where I had like, punched my wall and my room was destroyed. Like it looked like I had just gone in there and just rampaged everything, freaking hurricane going through. And I broke my wrist, probably from punching the wall.
Holy crap.
So I had to explain to a major at the medical clinic that I don't remember how I broke my hand because I was super drunk, which is not something that's uncommon in the military. But it was that was definitely one of those like I'm never doing that again. So I haven't drank absinthe since.
Good. I was about to say, please don't do that with you around me because I won't be a good friend to you. I'll call the cops. Be like, hey, this guy, I don't know what he's saying. He just showed up, and he got in my house. He's on something, officer. I've never seen him before.
I mean, it's
that's wild, dude. Yeah. That's pretty crazy. So you were in the military. Tell us all about that. Why'd you get in the military? What branch were you in? How long were you in? What'd you do?
Well, I went to rehab for the first time whenever I was 18, and got out and didn't really. I was a high school dropout, and was just like I don't know what else I'm gonna do. And military seemed like a good option. And
I feel like that happens to a lot of like young men. Their lives kind of they don't know what's going on, and that's what they do. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No,
I just
not
feel like
at
that's
all.
a common thing that happens with a lot of some girls too. Girls as well. They don't know what they're doing. Just join the military.
I hated the military. I hated, I was glad whenever I got out.
Now, what branch were you in again?
It benefited me for sure. Army.
Army, okay.
It definitely benefited me. Paid for my school and
I feel like it helps teach a lot of people good discipline, though, right?
Right.
Because everything's so structured and there's a lot of discipline going on.
I was definitely not the same person that I was, before going into it. It taught me a lot. As much as I hated it, it was more beneficial than it was anything else. So
did you see any combat?
No, I was intel. Worked in NSA for a couple of years.
What is NSA?
The National Security Agency.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right, I should know
that. Yeah. The people that spy on you.
Right. They're spying on us now. Right,
they're probably listening to our conversation
now.
They probably heard me mention that I worked there, and they're listening to us right now.
Like, hey, just
Make
kill
sure
him. Don't
just
kill
go ahead
me.
Yeah.
I'm just the messenger.
It's funny because it's like people have asked me like, oh, what did you do at NSA? Well, if I told you, I'd have to kill you. Actually, if I told you, you'd probably want to kill yourself because it's really boring. It's not that interesting. Like it's kind of not that.
So how long were you in the military for? In the Army? How long did you do that for?
5 years.
5 years. And you got to travel around a lot because of that, right?
Right.
Like where's all the places that you've been? Tell me about that.
Been stationed in Maryland, stationed in California twice, stationed in Texas. Oh God, Texas was miserable.
You don't like Texas?
Oh, I hate Texas.
Is a cool place. It's like
Texas
another country.
Texas is like there's nothing there. Like if you've ever driven through Texas, it's like the most boring.
Well, hold on. What part of Texas was it?
It was the western side. Now, I mean, I've driven through Texas a couple of times, and it's literally like as soon as you enter Texas, it's like this miserable just wasteland. Like there's nothing of interest, driving down the interstate, and the interstates are all
there's a
like,
lot of cattle farms and stuff out there.
I guess.
Like a lot of land. I've been to Dallas. Dallas was very interesting. Dallas was pretty cool, I thought, when I went to Dallas. That's the only part of Texas I've been to, but I thought it was cool.
All those all those movies that show like that portray Mexico, and it's like this dirty like
it's
that's Texas. That's not Mexico. That's Texas.
Okay,
it's just
so
very
not a fan of the Longhorn State. Where else have you been?
California.
California.
Yeah, that great place to visit. Horrible place to live.
I've been there as well. It's beautiful out there.
Oh,
That's one thing you cannot deny. It's gorgeous, but kind of weird.
It's funny. I lived walking distance from the beach, and I hate the beach. So I went like maybe 3 times. Like I was on the beach like maybe 3 times the entire time I was there.
Wait. So I gotta stop you real quick. Why on earth do you hate the beach? You got to explain this to me. I got to know. I got to understand you.
I don't like swimming.
Okay, that's fair enough.
and I don't like sand.
Oh, okay. Well, carry on.
All right. So yeah, I lived on on the beach, which
What,
I mean it
what
was
part of
very,
California
it
was
was
it?
very pretty. Monterey.
Oh, okay.
So it was actually like
Nice.
part of this tourist city where had a lot of tourism. It had a real nice aquarium, had all kinds of restaurants. I was stationed there for language school,
Okay,
and so like
linguistics. Nice.
so like a lot of the instructors that that taught the classes there, their families or whatever would open up restaurants for serving food from whatever nation they were from, and
Okay.
so you had like a lot of semi-authentic restaurants.
Yeah.
There was one street I remember. I don't remember what street it was, but they had just a line of restaurants, and you can go get Korean and Chinese and Japanese and Arabic, Lebanese food.
This is making me hungry.
Yeah,
Just listening to this crap.
it was amazing. It was great. That part I loved.
Did you see any celebrities while you were out there?
No.
No, none at all. Well, I guess that part. It's usually, I guess, around what, Central Southern California, LA, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you see like movie stars.
We were
and
about 5 hours. I think it's about 5 hours north of LA.
I gotcha. I got to see the OC. Went to Orange County and Pasadena and Malibu. Those places were gorgeous. Everything's super expensive out there, though, too.
I did trip on shrooms in San Francisco. That was horrible. It was a horrible experience. Horrible.
Why was it horrible?
I just never had a good trip on shrooms, and so it was, it was a bad trip in general.
And
then
hills,
just,
all those,
I mean,
big hills,
well, and,
dips in San Francisco.
in San Francisco, like you only see the pretty side in like movies and TV shows and stuff, and they don't show you like the real San Francisco. And just feeling lost there because whatever. But yeah, it was not fun. Not a fun trip. Not a fun experience.
So what about your international travels? What about that? Where have all you been around the world?
I've been to Italy.
That's it.
That's it.
That's still cool though. What parts of Italy did you visit?
Went to Venice. Got to visit. Got to visit Venice.
So cool, dude.
Where I was at was close to Vicenza.
Did you have any handmade pasta? Like what's like?
Oh, I hate Italian food.
You hate Italian? I forgot about that. You did tell me that the other day. Going, I vomited up in my mouth.
Yeah, I hate Italian food.
Italian
and
food.
I've been to Italy 3 times.
You must have been very hungry then while you were in Italy.
I got steak and fries.
Steak and fries.
Everybody looked at me weird, like we're at this like amazing restaurant in Italy that serves this just amazing Italian food, and you get steak and fries. Yep. Don't like Italian food.
No spaghetti, no pasta, no pastries, no sauce. No meatballs.
They had alcohol everywhere though. Like McDonald's had
Italian wine.
yeah. McDonald's had like Guinness on tap, and I'm not even kidding about that. Like they had
a Guinness.
Yeah, like they had Guinness on tap, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like you go to the coffee shop, a coffee. It'd be like going to Starbucks and them having like a liquor cabinet. Like, what would you like to add to your coffee? Venice smells like urine.
Dude, don't tell me that. It's my dream place. I want to go there.
Once you get past the smell, then it's not. I mean, it's beautiful, gorgeous city, gorgeous. You had to park outside of the
dreams, Matt.
Yeah, you had to park outside of the city because it's an old city, so cars didn't exist whenever it was built. You had to park outside of the city, and then you walked in and
everything's
a lot of
boats, right?
You had the gondolas, which we didn't actually take any gondolas anywhere. We, you just walked around. I guess we could have, but I didn't want to be that close to the water because it smelled horrible. Water. No, it's not. It's not the hate. It was the smell.
Oh, he hates swimming. That's what it is. So you didn't want to fall out. Then you'd have to swim.
Oh yeah,
or sink.
Yeah,
one of the two.
In Italy's sewer ways, and that's pretty much what it was.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, okay. This whole time I thought it was like you went to Italy. I didn't realize it was just a vacation. I thought it was like a military thing, so you're like traveling around.
No, I actually didn't go anywhere outside of the U.S. for military purposes.
What was your favorite place to visit or even live? Like of all the places you've traveled and been around?
I did like Maryland a lot. Maryland was nice. We were Fort Meade is about 45 minutes south of Baltimore, about 45 minutes north of DC.
Get to see the Ravens Stadium?
I did. I mean, it wasn't that important to me
because he doesn't like football either, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
he doesn't like anything.
I like Alabama football. Roll Tide.
Okay.
Yeah.
War Eagle. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess I'm an Alabama fan, but right now my family's watching. If they're listening to this, they're like, "Oh, that traitor! How could he say that?" I bought him that shirt.
Yeah,
I still wear the shirt.
What, the Auburn shirt?
No, I don't care.
Oh,
for
Alabama.
Auburn.
Alabama.
I like to
because Alabama's are winners.
That's true. I mean, you can't deny the championship caliber of the team. One thing I like to do is I'm giving away my secrets right now, but I like to troll people like where I am, I guess, pretty much a professed Alabama fan. Pretty much, I used to really, really love it. I think that's what made me get out of it. Is that I was just like, I'm so into this, and it's kind of silly. Like, I got mad and punched a wall because they lost a football game. Like, that's pretty stupid.
Like the heartbreak. Heartbreak.
Right. The heartbreak of these other people I don't know playing football in college.
The game where, Alabama and Auburn was tied, and Alabama tried to kick, knowing that we've never had a good kicker, and Auburn
Kick six.
and Auburn returned it for a touchdown. And I mean, that was just, I felt so crushed.
Yeah, I feel like there's all these very embarrassed moments for Alabama losing to Auburn, but there's not a lot of embarrassing moments for Auburn losing to Alabama.
But the thing is that Auburn's just so used to losing to Alabama that that's not actually embarrassing. It's just kind of like, oh well, we lost again.
Yeah, they do technically own the rivalry and wins and stuff like that. But no, what I was saying is, like, I do like to troll people. Like, I'll talk to people like I'm like an Auburn fan. I'm like, oh yeah, hey, I'll see them wearing shit. I'm like, hey, War Eagle, right? We got that game in, right? I use that pronoun.
Yeah, we as in we played our. Wait, what?
And then they're like, yeah, you Roll Tide, brother. All right, man. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm just totally fooling you. And then I'll do that with Alabama fans, even though I am an Alabama fan. It's just you heard that what was that term? They say it's like a running gag, but it's like, oh, I'm not saying that all Alabama fans are rednecks, but all rednecks are Alabama fans. Well, guess what? That joke still works for the Auburn thing too. I've seen that meme too. Yeah, I'm not saying all Auburn fans are rednecks, but all rednecks are Auburn fans. Yes, they are. He uses like the same thing. It's just back and forth. It's crazy. Yeah, we're crazy about college football.
We're both from Alabama, so I mean, Alabama, Auburn fans. I mean, either way, it's still in Alabama.
You said your favorite state was Maryland, which is hilarious.
It was my favorite, but I mean, it was definitely, I enjoyed living there.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I have a thing I talk about with Maryland. Matt knows what it is, about the girl from Chicago, my buddy's wife, who was like, oh, I love your redneck accent. And I was like, what? My redneck accent? I get accused of being a Yankee down here. And then my buddy was like, he's like, Mitchell, don't listen to her. She's never been as far as south than Ohio. She's from Maryland. That's what he said in defense. And I was like, oh, okay. The people from Maryland don't know what real rednecks are then, apparently. They hear she might have heard a little twang come off of me. And she was like, oh, cute little redneck accent.
I remember being out in California, and there was a girl that I was stationed with. She was from Texas. And yeah, right. And it was... I did my best to hide any kind of accent that I had, any kind of like.
You don't really have an accent though,
right? I can tell. But for you, but from somebody from the north, I do.
Yeah, that's what they told me in Michigan.
Right. So, well, Michigan. I mean, anyway.
Hey, be careful. That's where Matt's from. No, I guess he's not from there, but his roots, his family's from there.
Do you want some soda pop? Some soda?
Hey, Matt. Can I rest my head on a pillow?
I bet you go take out the garbage.
The garbage.
Yeah.
Don't throw away my favorite pillow. That's my pillow. Don't do that.
Is your favorite snack a moon pie?
If his cousins are listening to this, they're probably like, those assholes, stupid rednecks.
Yeah. And we probably have like the thickest country accents to them.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the girl that I was stationed with, anytime like I got into a conversation with her, and she had an accent that she could not hide. Like it was real thick. And I remember like I'd be hanging out with her, and of course be drinking, whatever. And it was like the more I talked to her, the more my accent come out, and then the more my accent came out, the more hers did. So it just kept. So by the end of it, we're talking like a couple of rednecks from, and I mean,
oh my! Did you go pick up a thing of skull from the gas station? Some dip.
I've dipped before. Yeah.
I don't understand dip, man. I don't get it. I don't understand. I know like a lot of baseball players do tobacco. Yeah, I guess but it's just it's gross. Like you remember Roger, Matt? Like he does that. It's just all in his teeth. And yeah, if you're listening to this, Roger, I don't. It's gross that you do dip, bro.
I love
disgusting. You, man. You're great. You're awesome.
It is pretty nasty. It's pretty nasty habit.
I don't like it. It's weird. Can you imagine what if you kissed somebody when they had dip in their mouth? Oh my gosh, this tobacco is giving me a buzz, and your mouth tastes like.
I mean, garbage. Just imagine having a bunch of beer bottles around, and like you got buddies that are dipping, and they go to they're using beer bottles as spit, and then you go to drink your beer, and it's like, oh
god, that actually reminds me of a really funny story. One of our really good friends, Thomas, shout out. So one of his ex-girlfriends, Sherry, she had this. This bottle of water, I think, and it was like half drank. And I was over at their house. We were all hanging out. A bunch of friends got together, and I had to like spit a huge loogie. And I mean, it was a beast. And I was like, doing all the just getting all the phlegm, just all from my sinus cavity. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. And I saw that bottle, and I was like,
where you're going with this. And
it's sitting there. It's sitting there. It's not being used because whenever I know Thomas always finishes his water. I didn't realize this was his girlfriend's. Because I know Thomas always finishes his water, throws away the bottle. He doesn't leave like half empty stuff. I was like, oh, so he's obviously not drinking this. I guess it's it's like halfway. So and plus I'm about to spit in it, and you can tell that it's spit. And so it's spit in this bottle of water.
And she drank it. That's disgusting.
And she did.
That's disgusting.
And then she drank it. She's drinking it, and then she noticed, and then she threw up.
Yeah.
And then, and I was in the other room, and I heard her like, ugh, and I was like, "Oh man, what's going on?" And then Thomas comes in, he's like, "Dude," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Sherry just like I just gave her name. She just threw up. Like what?" And I was like, What's the problem?" He was like, "Did you spit in that bottle of water?" And I was like, "Oh no."
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
He was like, "You were the only one in here. Everybody else was outside." I was like, "I don't know. Maybe Ivy did. I think Ivy did." Ivy did. And he was like, "Dude, whatever." He's like, "I know you did that, man. She's like sick now." Like, I was like, "Dude, why didn't she watch to see what she was drinking?" He's like, "Because her water was there. Why would you just spit in it at random?" I was like, I thought it was yours. I didn't figure you would like keep it. It's like I'm
such an ass, man.
Hey, if he's watching this, he's like, yeah, she probably deserved it. Oh God, I hope she doesn't listen to this. She might. Hey, much love.
Yeah,
ex-girlfriend of Thomas's.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh my gosh, too much fun, man. This has been super, super fun. I got to get more of my actual friends on the show because it opens up really well. It's super silly. If people are listening, they're just like, "Oh no, don't! This has been very unproductive."
Yeah,
I thought I was going to hear about business and life, and
they were just silly the entire time, talking about just stupid stuff.
Yeah, right. But so let's get a little deep, man. We get to the part of the show now where I ask you personally what you individually are wrestling, and we already. I'd say this all the time too. Like when you're just talking to somebody, you get to what they're wrestling with. Obviously, you talked about your drug addiction issues and stuff like that, and that's the thing that you wrestled with. And I feel like you got a good foot on it. But what are you personally right now, man? What are you fighting with? What are the demons that are in your closet and you're trying to keep in?
Well, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty right now. And honestly,
what do you mean by uncertainty?
Just moving down here, and I jumped into a job right away, and that was great. Like I went to a job interview and then started the next day, and I hadn't even quit my other job up in Kentucky yet. So, it's been I'm pretty hopeful. There's a lot of things that are looking very promising, but there's still like that anxiety of just like I'm not down here yet, and so getting down here and finding a place to live and finding but from where I was, a month ago, where I'm at right now is so much better. And a month ago, I was just in a, I was uncertain about everything, and struggling with I don't have a lot up in Kentucky. Don't have a lot of like real friends, and
you think you have real friends down here, like more real friends than you do in Kentucky?
I don't know, Mitchell. I don't know, Mitchell. Matt, are y'all friends? Are y'all
just ignore him, Matt?
I don't know. Sometimes we're friends.
Yeah, sometimes. Not all the time though.
Just
occasionally.
You've got more emotional attachment here to Alabama.
Right. I've got family,
here.
and I've got friends and that I've reconnected with, which has been great. But that was definitely a struggle for a while. It was just feeling like I didn't have anybody. Didn't really have any connections. I had acquaintances, I had friends, I've got people that I work with, and if any of y'all, friends that I work with are listening to this, I'm not saying that y'all aren't friends, just that, just not anything deep, not any real connections.
Yeah, I try to predicate my life on surrounding myself with people that aren't like that, don't live life on the surface. I can't stand that. It's just if you can't get deep with somebody, then I feel like it's, for me personally, I can't speak for everybody, obviously. I feel like they're not offering anything. They're not offering, like, if all you talk about is like just surface level stuff. Like I saw this when I went to Michigan with Matt here some years ago. There was this Edgar Allan Poe bar, super awesome. Recommend it.
It does sound,
man. Yeah, then they do coffee and food, and then there's just books.
Is there
everywhere.
Like knocking under the floorboard and stuff?
Well, I think they had references to that, to like the different things like that, and they had the raven on the like top part of the bar. Oh, okay, yeah, it was Edgar Allan inspired like bar / coffee sh / book place, and they had all these empty notebooks that just laid on the tables that you could, and people wrote their own poetry, and it was super awesome. I was like, man, this is one of the coolest places ever. I wish like Birmingham had this. But I remember seeing this quote in the book, and it said that what is it? Small minds talk about people. So small minds talk about other people and what they're doing. Average minds talk about things and events, and large minds talk about depth and ideas. And I was like, I feel like that's like that makes a lot of freaking sense. Like, because I know a lot of people that just want to talk about other people, right? And I'm just like, oh, and it's so just, ugh.
Right.
And then you have people that, like, they talk about things going on, like in events and environments, and that's, it's kind of like average general talk. And then, but when you have people talking about ideas and what they want to do with life and their aspirations and their wants and their fears, that's real stuff. And that's my addiction. That's one of my addictions. That's what I like. That's what,
hence the podcast.
Yeah, that's what gets me high. Not trying to be funny about it, but that's, yeah. And so I know what you mean by that, man. You're looking for that emotional content.
Right.
So, yeah. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this out there. I did the spoken word sessions, and I did, anybody wondering, the person I was talking about, did Think Man? That's the guy that wrote that beautiful piece of literature that I recited. And thank you for that, by the way. He said he was cool, so now I'm like putting him on blast, and he's not anonymous anymore. But what did you write that poem for? What did you really mean by it? I wanted to interpret it, but I didn't want to, it's that kind of art is subjective, so I didn't want to like misinterpret why you wrote it. What did it mean, really?
I wrote that whenever I was a teenager. I'd have to sit
here. It was really good too,
and look at it,
especially
and really think about like what the mindset was behind it. It's just it's one of those like, wanting to get deeper into everything, wanting to not just be surface. Just it's all about like really getting into your thoughts and really getting into. And I'd have to sit here and look it up and to get back into the mindset that I was in whenever I wrote it. But from what I remember about how I felt was just, it was, I want to get deeper. It's not surface level.
Yeah, I interpreted it as like you like were wrestling with yourself, and you're telling yourself to think and to like I don't know, to look at things like differently in life, and to like, I don't know, try to be happy. That's kind of what my interpretation of it was. It was real good, man.
When one of the lines is white and black and now Technicolor, you've got that white and black, but not everything is white and black. You've got white and black and Technicolor. Everything is just is so much deeper than just, it's either this or it's not.
Yeah. I've always thought people that live. I mean, if you look at politics or like that, not to talk about politics, but
and I was actually gonna bring that
either
up.
red or you're blue. I mean, no, you're not. You're either Alabama or Auburn. No, there's other football teams out there, or you don't have to watch football at all.
It's like, you've got your people who are like, oh, those stupid libtards, and then your kooky conservatives or whatever, and it's like once you actually meet somebody who's got different ideas, it's not just, there might be things that you agree with on a deeper level, or you might be able to see their point of it, if you actually listen to it and let them explain. And, we've got this habit of, all the memes and stuff that you see on Facebook. It's just very like, well, if you're this way, then that must mean that you're this way. Not necessarily. Or if if you are for this, then that must mean that you think this way. It's not always clear cut. It's not always black and white. Sometimes it's Technicolor.
The point of this podcast too is just to try to open people's minds up to really just accepting. Like, I've had if anybody's listening to this or watching it, they can see that you're a way different guest than the last person I had on before, and the person before that was a lot different. But everybody all has this common ground. This is one thing I've learned about making friends and talking to people from around the world. They have different accents. They're from different countries. They're culturally enriched in a different way. But everybody follows some similar suit about the way they look at life and love and happiness and the pursuit of that. And it's humanity. You know what I mean? And, the struggle sometimes I feel like is the best medicine. People are always so quick to get away from struggle and hard work. And, when really I feel like, trial by fire, it makes you stronger. Like, that's why, Matt came up, he found that thing, the struggle is manhood. And it's a real thing, a real thing. And anybody watching this, you're like, oh, what about womanhood? Manhood is talking about all humanity, just in case.
Not to offend any feminists here.
Not to offend any feminists. But another thing so on the spoken word thing, I was talking a lot about how like I went into about how kids can be really mean and spiteful.
Mitchell.
And hey, it wasn't just me, but I talked about how you looked up to our circle of friends growing up when we were kids and teenagers and stuff, and then we kind of gave you a glimpse of getting into our little clique, and then we kind of like ostracized you, and that like kind of hurt you and stuff like that. But why is it? What was so special about our group that you wanted to be friends with us?
I mean, just the closest of it. I mean, everybody wants that best friend. Everybody wants that relationship, and that was, I
you don't think you had that? Because I remember you having a lot of friends though.
Like,
and I did. A lot of dudes, like other people,
I did.
Girls and stuff.
I had a lot of friends, and I've had friends that were, that I really connected with, that I really, that were best friends for me, for a time. But it's interesting that y'all are still like, that group is still. There, you and Matt. I mean, it's, and I'm that's one thing that I've been excited about coming back to Alabama is getting back to being, a part of that maybe.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, you're part, bro. You're in the clique. Matt, get him a t-shirt.
Hey, I can
get him a special decoder ring.
I can make us some t-shirts.
Yeah, hey, there you go.
Right.
BFFs for life.
What up?
We'll braid each other's hair later. We'll have to braid his beard because he's bald.
Yeah. Gosh.
But okay, and I know that we had a conversation and you brought it up and you still kind of held on to that pain, from us kind of being mean and like not like accepting you and all that stuff. Why do you think you held on to that all those years, even through? Because obviously I'm not taking up for what we did. We were assholes. We were also kids, and you grow and you kind of learn.
It wasn't necessarily that I held on to it. I got over it fairly quickly. And I mean, it's, I forgave y'all a long time ago for that. I mean, it's not like, oh, here it is 10 years later, a decade later, and I'm still holding this grudge.
I got that.
No, but it, for me, it's just looking back and the issues that I've had with, abandonment and just, the not being wanted or not feeling wanted and all that. And, that was a major point in those feelings.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad that y'all acknowledge it. I acknowledge it, and it's not something that I hold against y'all at all.
Yeah.
But it is something that struck me very hard and
Painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that I'm bringing it up to make y'all feel guilty or anything about it. It's bringing it up just to acknowledge it, just to be like, hey,
And I never felt guilty about it at all. Not that, I mean, I felt bad for what I felt bad for what went down, but like I said, it was a long time ago, and we made our peace. I apologized to you some years ago, but I was just fascinated that that still was kind of like a painful thing for me, and it just kind of made me more introspective about myself and about how people, you really don't realize how many people are watching and paying attention to the things you do, and
Right.
then also how the things you do affect that person or persons.
Right.
And how that they could carry that with them for life. So like if you
The impact
you made
that you
fun
make.
of somebody, or you shun somebody, or you spit in someone's face, and I mean that's metaphorically, like it, like that stuff could like really like make or break a person. You don't know how much stock someone puts into you. And I've realized this not just with you, but a lot of people. I've realized that a lot of people like looked up to our motley little crew.
Yeah.
Like we were accused of being Matt. And like a lot of people looked up to us and wanted to be friends with us and thought we were cool. And even some of them idolized us. And I found this out years later talking to these people. And I was like, really? Well, I never would have ever assumed that. I guess we were just in our own little world doing our own little thing. And maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what people were attracted to, is we were just unapologetically us. And we didn't care about what people thought and did. And maybe that's what was attractive about our little group of our little gang or whatever. And so it just it put perspective in my head about how, you got to be careful with the level of influence that you may or may not have on people, because you don't know who's watching.
And there have definitely been times, things that I've done where I look back. I mean, I remember I must have been 12, 13. It was probably, what was that, 7th grade, 7th grade?
Yeah, something like that.
I think 7th grade. I remember there was this kid that I would see, and I didn't have any classes with him. And I would see him, going from one class to the next, and he always said hey to me. He always, hey, what's up, man? We always kind of just, passed each other and it was a quick hey or whatever. And I remember one day he asked me if I wanted to hang out with him, go to the mall. And I was like, I'm not gay, dude. Like, I thought he was asking me on a date, man, and I was like, I'm not gay, dude. And I feel so bad because, like, I realized after very shortly after that, he was just trying to make a friend, and so like I've been that ass and I know it. So, I've definitely had moments in my life where I look back and I cringe at some of the stuff that I've done, which I'm sure, we all have those moments. And I don't remember anything other than that. I don't remember anything about this guy. I don't remember his name. Like I can't even remember what he looked like. But I just remember like that feeling of guilt of, man, he was just trying to be a friend. And I'm like, I basically called him gay. Like I was like, no, dude, I'm not gay.
Yeah, I get what you mean, man. It's all part of growing up, right? I think what speaks volumes is to be able to look back on that and really understand, how, that's not a great way to go about being and treating people that way. But, when you're kids, you just don't really, unfortunately, it's just.
And sometimes I wonder, like, what kind of impact did that have on him? Like, that kind of that guilt, like what kind of trauma, like with, the whole abandonment thing with y'all, that affected me for a long time. And, how did I affect that person, negatively in that way?
When it comes to like abandonment and anxiety and fighting with those monsters in your closet, what do you think's the best way to beat that? How do you overcome that stuff?
Alcohol. No.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
No,
this is another episode
that is
of the...
not. There's no.
Remember what we just said. You got to be careful what you say to people. Some kid's going to watch this and he's like, oh, that's all? Okay. Forget about problems. Chug-a-lug-a-lug-a-lug.
Mad Dog 2020. This is that year.
If there's some teenage kid who's watching this or listening to this rather, And then everything you're saying is them. They're like, oh my gosh, this guy's like, this is me. This is what I'm dealing with. What do you say to that kid, man? He's watching. She's watching. What do you say?
I don't even know, because I made so many horrible choices. I'm not the person to ask that. Like,
what if you had to?
know,
What if they had nobody else, man? They're asking you. They're looking at you. What do you say to them?
That's a tough
You've lived
one.
a lot of life, though.
Yeah,
you know what happened.
Yeah, and
you know what you did.
I've come through a lot. I've made it through quite a good bit. But that's still that's a tough one. Because everybody's situation is different. I would say, like, find somebody that you connect with. But what if that's what the person struck? Like, like for me, I had a period of time where I just didn't feel like I connected with anybody, and so, how do you tell somebody, like, hey, just find somebody to connect with, and that'll make you feel better? Well, what if they don't have that?
Well, here's what I would say to that. I feel, in my unprofessional, uncultured opinion, that there is somebody or somebodies, there's 7+ billion people in the world. There is somebody out there that connects with you on everything you do. I feel like it's not even like an opinion. They're there. Maybe you just got to find them.
Yeah, and definitely seek help. But I mean, sometimes that can be a struggle, because, what if you're seeking for help, and everybody that you're seeking help from is not being helpful, and you just want to give up. I mean, that's that's just real. And it might take some time, but like I said, I mean, just in my own life, like, just from where I was a little over a month ago, where I was just in a deep, dark place, and I was just real depressed and anxious. And now it's like there's so much hope. Well, I can't tell anybody that, that there's some kind of, solution. It was just, hey, eventually I got out of it. Eventually, I found my way out. So I guess don't give up.
That's good. I like that. We can use that. Cut, print. That's a wrap. We're going to wrap things up, bro. One thing I want to say and ask you before I wrap this baby up. It's been fun, dude. You enjoyed yourself?
Yeah.
I see your nerves all melted away.
Yeah, a little bit.
I told you, dude. I'm good at doing that with people. When they get nervous, I just start talking about spitting in people's water, and you're all good.
Yeah.
Where do you? What's your future ambitions? What is it that you are chasing that you want to grab one day? And then when you get there and you look back on your life, what is your proud achieving moments? What does that look like for Andrew?
There's not any like set, like, oh, this is what I want to do. It's more of this is how I want to feel. I want to feel important. I want to feel relevant. I want to feel like, whatever job that I'm doing, I'm appreciated for. That my talents are being put to use. That I'm not just another number. That I'm not just another, like where I'm working at now, working in a factory, and all I am is just how much production I can get out, and that's it. That's all my worth there. And I want to be more than that. I want to be, where I'm really appreciated and valued.
Nice. I like that. That was good, dude. Woo! Praise Jesus.
Are we done yet?
Can I get an amen? Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Wrestling Diaries, where we find out what people are struggling with, the demons that they fight with, and how they can beat them and pin them and overcome them, and how this might help change their lives or change someone else's life. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and all the platforms that host podcasts. Also, if you would like to watch the video, go to YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share. And tell me, what do you wrestle with? And how can you beat it? One love.